You know, it's almost like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in the last couple of months on AliExpress they have released a lot of these plug and play solutions when it comes to retro games emulation machines. But there is something you maybe didn't know and that I want to talk about today with you. So what they're doing is basically like slapping a piece of software on it and calling it a Super Console X stick. But did you know that they basically using old pieces of hardware for it? So that brings me to the H96 Pro. And basically this device is the same like the Super Console X. Or maybe not. That is what we're going to find out today. By the way, what you're going to get is just basically the product itself. And not all the other stuff that you're basically paying for. What do it mean? So let's take a close look at the Super Console X stick. So with the Super Console X you're going to get this nice fancy box. Powerful performance. When you're opening it up you're going to get yourself the stick itself, 2 controllers. It even comes with a remote, a power supply and some explanation how the system works. And that is what you're going to get when you buy, for example, a Super Console X product. That brings me back to this bad boy, this very nice yellow, fancy box, the H96 Pro. The only thing that we're going to get is this. We're going to get ourselves the product itself, the stick, where all the magic happens. We do going to get a power supply because we're going to need it. We need to have some use for the device. There is no HDMI cable, there's no extension cable. There is a micro USB because we need to combine it with the power supply. And it also comes with a user manual. The toilet paper that we're not going to use anyway, because this thing is only for Android. Because an Android box, that is what this bad boy is. So this is not a glitch in the Matrix or a glitch on AliExpress. No, my friends. Basically this is the same kind of product. And when you're looking at the stick itself, you can see the resemblance. Here we're going to get like a very nice Super Console X Stick Pro 4K blah 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 blah. And with this one we're just going to get the H96 Pro H3 4K. But in the end, like, they are all the same when it comes to connectivity and all the other things. But there is a slightly difference between the two sticks. Okay, so we're having 2 sticks, but there are still some differences. So to begin with, this device has more RAM, 2 GB to be exact. And this is what you're not going to get with this one, because with the Super Console X Pro stick version, we're going to get only 1 GB. So basically, this is like paying less for it, and we're going to get a little bit more performance, but it's not a big boost. So first of all, what we're going to do, we're going to boot it up in the Android function. Just going to give you a quick overview of the normal menu. And then what we're going to do is pop in an SD card with Emulation, and we're going to test some games just to see how it's going to work out and how good is this bad boy. If you have set the right device tree in combination with the Emulation that you wanted to use, the version like 3.9 or later, you're ready to go, and let's try out some games. Okay, so this is a brand new install and also a new controller. Even if you're going to get yourself like a used image from somewhere, you're going to make it yourself, doesn't matter. The new controller means new configuration. Fun fact, like it says like it's an Xbox 360 controller, kind of weird, but okay. Up, down, left, right for the D-pad. Yep, Doggy agrees. Select and start, so it's first to start, then select, and we're going to configure the A, B, H, Y. Well, we just love to do. Shoulder buttons, trigger buttons, then we're going to push the left thumb and the right thumb. Up, down, left, right for the left analog stick, and the same for the other one. Okay, enable hotkey is something you need to consider. I do it, I like it. If you want to go back to the menu and it needs to be a little bit more convenient, I'm just going to use the select for this. Okay, that's it. Everything is configured and we're ready to go. But let's take a close look at the menu and let's test some games. So what I like about Emulation is that you just have the options to play a lot of games, but take consideration when you're going to buy a cheap stick and you want to make yourself this gaming mean machine. It's more like the doggy says at the background. It's something you need to consider, like cheap stuff, like the cheap sticks don't have always the power to run all the games, especially when it comes to high-end stuff. Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation Portable, you name it. But for the basic old school stuff, it runs fine, and you can make yourself a very cheap solution plug and play through HDMI. But sadly, even with a more RAM, you can't do messing around with the system. This emulator just needs some more juice, and oh man, I'm glitching out by the way. Of course, if you're going to tinker with new updates, maybe you're going to get a little bit better performance. But the main problem with these chips, even with more RAM, maybe if the clock speed will be a little bit higher, it's still the same chipset. But in my opinion, even the sound is not superb. It's still playable. Alright, so next up, let's try some Sega Dreamcast. Again, a very demanding system. Okay, let's play a little bit of Diddy Kong Farting. So Diddy Kong Farting, I mean Racing, is a game that, yeah, it's the first generation. It will run just fine on most of these cheap devices. But when you're going to get deep inside the rabbit hole, and you're going to search for games, Cruise in the USA, GoldenEye, stuff like that will not work. So with N64 it will be a mixed bag. Depending what kind of firmware you're running, of course, and what kind of emulator updates you're having. But still, the more demanding games need more power. Crap, I missed a freaking farting balloon. Alright, so next up, let's try a PSP game. And like say with the PSP, it's the same story like with N64. It will be like a mixed bag. You see this game, the shmup runs perfectly and full FPS. But there are games that are like having a, let's say, lesser support when it comes to emulation. And you're just going to need some more juice for it too. But this game runs fine, and there are a lot of games with the PlayStation Portable they can play just fine. Oh man, I love myself some shoot 'em ups. But so far I know, it's like when it comes to PlayStation 1, it will run just fine even on low-end plug-and-play devices like this. So up to PlayStation 1 it will be no issue whatsoever. I'm getting my ass kicked by Nina. Lay down. Damn, I can't get my move out. Ah, whatever, just do it like that. But the reason I want to make this video, it's not really in comparison. I just want to show you that you can make these things yourself. For example, you have already a good control laying around, so you don't need to buy them. And with the Super Consolex, you're paying for, let's say, the name, you're paying for the PlayStation controls and everything that's behind it. And this is just a very cheap Android box that you can grab from the shelf yourself. Maybe you have an, let's say, a 60 or 32 gigabyte card laying around, where you can basically add yourself your Emulation. If you want to know how that works, there are a lot of tutorials out there. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that bell, become one of the Wicked family, because I have a lot of great videos coming up.